Welcome to the Brand and Market Podcast, where branding clarity meets marketing strategy. I'm your host, Allie Haney, founder of Brand and Market, a boutique agency dedicated to helping small businesses craft intentional brands and effective marketing plans. Each week, I share practical tips and insights to help you, especially those of you in real estate-related industries, build a standout brand to attract your brand's biggest fans. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Brand and Market Podcast. I'm Allie Haney, your host, and today I have with me a special guest. Her name is Abbey Oslin. She is the co-founder of Duo Collective, which is an organic marketing agency. They specialize in both SEO and branding, but she's going to be coming on today to talk more about direct booking sites for our short-term rental owners. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Abbey to tell us a little bit more about Duo Collective and what they do over there.
Hello, thanks for having me. I am always happy to talk about anything SEO related. So I am one half of the duo. My other half, Courtney, is off enjoying a little vacay right now. She is the brand design genius of our business, and then I am more on the SEO strategy side. So we are an organic marketing agency. We've been in business for about 7 years. We worked previously at an agency, more of a corporate agency in shopper marketing. So we did a lot of marketing at retail for really big brands. So think marketing Clorox at Target is kind of what we worked on together. So we worked in that capacity for a long time. And that's we knew we worked really well together. And that's kind of how we branched out and started working with small business owners. We really loved the work that we did, but it just wasn't as fulfilling, I'd say, as it is to help small business owners, entrepreneurs, people who really just wanted to grow their business so that they could have a better family work-life balance and all of that, which is exactly what we were trying to do as well. So yeah, we, over the past few years, we've really embraced the opportunity of being able to build a team. So we now have about 7 people on our team, including us, spread out everywhere. We have a designer in Scotland. We have someone in Maryland, someone in Chicago. So it's been really nice to expand our team, all women, just really specialized in our own areas. So it's awesome. We specialize in helping businesses be seen and memorable. So helping you get found online, show up online, be visible. But also that memorability of it is so important. And that's where having that strong brand comes in. So we specialize in all of that. And when we say organic too, if that's I feel like that can kind of be a jargony word. It just means anything non-paid. So we specialize in really helping you get solid foundations and show up without having to pay for ads on social media, on Google, on all of those places. So that's kind of what we specialize in. And hopefully you hear this throughout our conversation today, but we really despise jargon and overly hard to understand concepts, which can be SEO and AI, which is kind of what we're going to talk about today. And we really try to break it down in a way that feels easy to understand, friendly, like something that you can do yourself because you truly can. You don't need to have a degree in order to help yourself show up online. So
love that. I know that we've had some previous SEO experts on the podcast as well. I just love that everybody kind of has a different approach to it, and it's kind of ever evolving, especially in the world of AI, on how to get your website actually seen in front of the people that you intend for it to be seen by. So can you give us kind of a rundown of what you mean when you say SEO and how it relates back to a website, specifically a direct booking site for short-term rental owners?
Yeah. So when we talk about SEO, we're just talking about optimizing your website, your content for a search engine. So Google, Yahoo, Bing, all of those different search engines. Google's definitely the biggest, but Bing is kind of creeping up there now with ChatGPT as well. That's kind of what we're talking about. And a lot of times we're thinking about taking it back to the bare roots of like how search engines work. And then now the conversations about AI. And I think a lot of times we're thinking about them in 2 different ways. You have search engines and then you have AI tools, but we're forgetting that they need each other in order to work. So how I like to explain it is that a search engine does 3 things. So it's going to crawl your website and the content that you create. It's going to index your content, meaning it's going to put it in its big old file cabinet so that it can pull it out when it needs it. And then it's going to rank it. So it's going to determine, are you going to be on page 1 or page 10? Now, AI tools, they cite content, but they cite content from what's already indexed. So you can't just skip the SEO step because AI tools are leveraging content that's already in that index. They're working together. And the goal of both of them is to deliver the user, the searcher, content in an easy, meaningful to understand way. If your focus is to create quality content that's transparent, that is showcasing exactly what it is that you have to offer, communicating it in a clear, structured way, then you're going to perform well on both of these tools. They both want the same thing. So I think that's really important because a lot of times we just forget, like, oh, I want to focus on showing up on ChatGPT. Well, you're not going to show up on ChatGPT if you aren't already first indexed in the World Wide Web. Like, you have to show up there and you need that foundation. So sometimes I might have gotten off on a tangent if I didn't actually answer your question, but I feel like
No, that's okay.
that's so important.
Yeah, I was curious as to what's the difference between, you said crawling, indexing, and ranking is the main three purposes of a search engine. So what's the difference between crawling and ranking?
Yeah, so crawling is basically all of these search engines have these like spiders, robots that jump into your website and literally crawl every word. So they're grabbing words, they're grabbing the content, they're taking all of that, and then they have to index it. So basically, they grab all the words that you put on your website in all the different places, and now they're going to put it in that file cabinet. So it's in there. But then the ranking part is it going to be the first thing it delivers or the second? Like, how relevant is it to the searcher? So what that searcher searches for. And that's where the words that you put on your website and in your listings and in your blogs and in your content matter, because these crawlers are going to take them, put them in the folder. But if no one's actually searching for that particular folder, it's never going to be distributed, right? So, like, it's all about making sure that you also understand your audience, because what your audience is searching for is going to depend on whether that file cabinet gets pulled out or not.
So I think that's where I always thought crawling was like crawling up the rankings. So that's why I think I was getting confused with that terminology. But crawling is more like pulling the pieces out. Indexing is organizing, and ranking is climbing as opposed to crawling.
Relevancy. Yep. It's like relevancy to whatever that person is searching for. So where are you going to rank in context of what someone's searching? Because all of your content can go into Google's file cabinet. Like, all of it can go in there. But if it's not content that people are searching for, it's just going to collect dust and stay there. So it's also about making sure that we know who our audience is. Like, who are they? What are they searching for? What do they want? What do they need? And then making sure that what they're searching for is also on our website.
Okay, I might be jumping ahead of us here, but how would a direct booking site for, let's say, a property owner that has one or two properties, how would they compete with like an Airbnb site that has so many listings on it? Like, are there strategies behind that? Is that a pipe dream to be able to compete with them? Like, what does that look like?
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so I personally think right now, like, this is why I was so excited to talk about this, is AI is completely changing the game. People, and in general, I would say that there is an entire industry shift of people being frustrated with platforms like Airbnb and VRBO because of there's just not enough transparency behind the fees and the cost, right? You see what the price is, you get to the final, the price point is so much higher, the cleaning fees, and usually that reflects on the Airbnb owner and not Airbnb, right? So people are just getting frustrated in general because of that kind of situation. I actually went to look this up because I was super curious. So I wanted to see right now how many people are booking online bookings, like direct booking sites versus Airbnb. Last year, 34% of all vacation rental bookings in the US, it's 34% of people did that through a direct booking site. That's second in comparison to Airbnb. Airbnb was 46%. That's not that different. Like, that's wild.
That's crazy. Those statistics actually blow my mind. As like an owner operator, this may be showing a little bit behind the curtain, but I don't think I've ever booked on a direct booking site. Like, I almost always use Airbnb unless I'm going back to be a repeat guest and I've seen that direct booking site within the rental itself.
Yes, agreed. And we've done that too. Like as a family, we go to the same place every year in Arizona and we always just work directly with the owners. Again, because of the fees. We don't want to deal with the fees and also they don't want to deal with the fees, the rental people. That's something where I think it's just overall, like people looking for those direct booking sites is actually it's more than you think. And so I think there's that world out there, but and I say this too, like this is what I say with product business owners who like want to be on Etsy. Yeah, be on Etsy, but also have your own website. So same thing. Be on Airbnb, but also have your own website. Because Airbnb does have like Airbnb, VRBO, they all have a big database. People go there. Like it's a search engine in and of itself where people are searching for the location for the things that they want. But when it comes to AI and vacation planning now, people are turning to ChatGPT to say, here's all the things that I want. And they're saying, I want it this location, I want this many bedrooms, I want this vibe, like I want this kind of experience, I want it to be close to this. Like they're detailing out all of this information. No one's going to do that in an Airbnb search thing, right? They're going to search for the location and then use their own filters to kind of filter it, but you still don't get exactly what you want, especially when it comes to things like what's the vibe I want, or like what kind of amenities or luxury like experiences or things like that do I want? But people turn to ChatGPT for that. And so ChatGPT and AI tools really base what they deliver on the structure of the website's content. So tools like Airbnb and VRBO aren't actually set up nicely for this because there's so much. And the structure of their content isn't set up that great. So when I'm talking about structure, I'm talking about headlines, paragraphs, bullet points, but the physical structure that you put into your website. So if you are tagging, like for example, you can tag your headlines in a website that you own and that you've built. So there's tags there that say like heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, which on the back end tells Google and AI crawlers what the most important thing is on your website. Heading 1's most important, heading 2 is second, third. They also usually coincide with design settings. So sometimes we don't realize that like, oh, heading 3 is script font. So I'm not going to use that because I don't want to use heading 3. Or heading 1's too big. I'm not going to use it at all because it's massive and I'm never going to use that. So now we just lost an opportunity to actually showcase this is the most important thing on our website. But the reason why this matters is if you look at an AI overview on a Google search engine, or even when ChatGPT spits out answers, it's structured already. It's skimmable content that has headlines, that has bullet points, little paragraphs, and it's structured really nicely so that you can skim it and read it. And they're doing that and pulling that because the content they're pulling from is structured as well. So if you have your own direct booking site and you're able to structure your headlines to be like, here's what's included, here's what the experience is like, here's the transparency and the cost, here's what the fees and the structure look like. Like if you can structure that and use all those words that people want, so like vibe and like what's that experience going to look like, all of that, and including testimonials of like what other people say, it makes it a whole lot easier for these AI crawlers to grab that and deliver you as the answer versus something like Airbnb. So I think with this whole transition of people now going to ChatGPT to look, and plus everyone wants to be unique, right? Like everyone wants that unique vacation experience. And so they can get a lot more specific when they go into something like ChatGPT or Gemini and ask those questions of like, I want a vacation that's going to be like this. And then it can actually deliver content and it's going to be a whole lot easier through a direct booking site than it is. It's not going to sort through Airbnb for you. It's likely going to pull what's already out there on the web.
That shows the importance of knowing exactly who is coming to your property to know what words to use. And I actually did a whole episode on how to use your Airbnb reviews to know how your ideal guest is speaking. So that's exactly what you would do there is pull those words that they're already using. Let me give you an example for the Kentucky house that we have. So everyone loves that house has every bedroom has a bathroom. So I use the word ensuite bathroom or that phrase ensuite bathroom a lot because I know that that's what people are looking for if they want their own place to kind of retreat to at the end of the day after a day out on the Bourbon Trail. You keep saying like the word vibe, which I feel like is definitely like our generation and maybe a little bit younger. But our generation is not the guests that we typically target for that Airbnb. So maybe that's not something that I would use specifically for that property, but might be used like for a different property. That's so interesting.
And I think too, so like when you were mentioning understanding who's visiting your site, so that's the other power of having a direct booking site is that you own all that data. You get all the analytics, whether they book or not. You have Google Analytics set up on the back end, and you can actually see the demographics of who's visiting you. You can see their interests, their likes. You can see whether they visited you on mobile or desktop, like just simple things like that that help break down who your audience is. Whether, so like booking, yes, that's great, but also who else are you just attracting overall and understanding if it's like, okay, this is my audience, I need to hit them harder, or I had no idea that the majority of people visiting me are male. Like maybe I need to restructure my content a little bit differently. So I think that's super important too. So things like Google Analytics, which helps you track who is coming to visit your website. So demographics, audience. And then Google Search Console helps you understand who is, like what keywords are people searching for that are landing on your website. So then you get the actual words of how you're showing up and if they're clicking. And both of those tools allow you the data to actually just reach your audience a whole lot better. And I think that's another thing that you really just can't get when you're on an Airbnb or a VRBO. You're not going to get all that juicy data that then you can use to better speak to your audience.
So Google Analytics and Google Search Console, and those are both free, right?
Both completely free. So, and then you can also set up like for your Airbnb, you can create Google business profiles. So you can actually put your Airbnb on the map, which is powerful for people who are searching literally in the map for a place to stay.
I have never thought of that, and I have not done that at all. Wow. Okay, so does that like support your SEO in conjunction with your website, or do those act separately and independently?
I will say it will help. So it's kind of two focuses. Like your website can serve anyone anywhere. Like, yes, you can optimize it for local, but it will show up for anyone regardless of where they're searching for. If someone is local and using the maps or looking locally inside the maps, like Google Maps, that is where your biggest potential is for your Google business profile. So it's definitely more of like a local map feature, but you can tie them together. So one of the things that is more important now, which I don't want to go like too much in the weeds because this is like a little bit more technical. You can add some structured data to the back end of your website that says this website is the same as this social profile, this Google business profile. And it just like adds that detail in the back end of your website. So no one sees it. It's some custom code. And the cool thing about ChatGPT now is you can literally say, hey, Google, can you write me structured data, like organizational local data for my website to connect it to all of these platforms? And it will literally spit you out code that you can copy and paste into your website. Like you don't need a developer to do it for you. ChatGPT is very smart at doing it. And then there's something called a Google Rich snippet. I think I can send you the link afterwards so you can put it in the show notes. And that's where you verify whether that code worked. So it'll literally give you a green checkbox of like, yep, you have structured data in there. The cool thing about ChatGPT is it's making this process so much more accessible for everyone now. Like it's making SEO way more accessible. You as a business owner can do it without needing to spend $1 billion to hire a custom developer to put code into your website.
That's wild. I've designed many a website and I did not know that you could do that. Hey, host, you've got a lot of responsibilities on your plate. Guest communication, cleaning coordination, marketing, and everything in between. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while and love all the great actionable tips, but just have zero time to execute on them, then it might be time to get some help. You're in luck. I've been a superhost for over 6 years with over 200 5-star reviews, and I'm here to help you elevate your short-term rental business. I've co-hosted properties across 3 states, managing everything remotely and ensuring my clients' guests have a seamless 5-star experience every single time. Here at Branded Market, we focus on creating a unique guest experience through cohesive branding for your property. It gives boutique hotel rather than side hustle short-term rental. So whether you need help with guest communication, maintaining your listing, or just keeping things running smoothly day to day, My co-hosting services take the stress off your shoulders so you can focus on growing your business and portfolio or getting that side hustle back over to the side. Let me make your listing into your legacy, one great guest experience at a time. Ready to take your short-term rental to the next level? Head to www.brandonmarket.co/co-hosting to learn more about how my co-hosting services can help you. Okay, so if I was going to be creating my own direct booking site, where should I start in terms of SEO? I know you mentioned like heading 1, heading 2. Is that a good place to start?
Yeah, so I would say that one, you're going to have to pick a platform on where you want to live. One of the biggest questions I get is WordPress better than Squarespace? Is Showit better than like Wix? Like, what's the best for SEO? And there is no, like, people have preferences on what platforms they like to design on, but they can all be optimized for SEO. Does not, like, from like me as an SEO expert, I've optimized every single platform. They all can perform great. So I don't want that to be the hang up. I think it's choosing a platform that you feel comfortable in, especially if you're not hiring a designer to help you and you're DIYing it yourself. Then choose one that you feel comfortable in, a template that you can build. And then the optimization comes down to, okay, now I need to know who my audience is and what they're searching for. So I always tell people before you do any research of like, okay, what are the words that people are typing into Google? Just ask your audience. Like, whether you have an Instagram or you have an email list or you have some way to communicate with past people who have booked you, asking the question of, how did you find me? Or what would you search if you were searching for a place like mine? That can be really helpful to then help you back into, okay, these are the words I should put on my website without needing to invest in like a fancy keyword research tool. Just literally talk to your audience.
As an underrated strategy right there.
For real. Like, we like to overcomplicate things. Like, oh, you need a tool. You need, like, what keyword research tool should I use? There's so many. Like, ask your audience. And the thing is, like, these keyword research tools are great, but people are getting longer in ChatGPT. Like, they're putting full paragraphs in to get a response.
That's so funny because what I do with ChatGPT is I will literally open the app on my phone and just talk to it, which is a lot different than like a 2-word long tail keyword phrase. Like, it's just stream of consciousness thought where I want to be able to like word vomit and then have chat organize my thoughts for me.
1,000%. And so that's where like keyword research isn't going away. Like, keywords are still important. It's just different. Like, it's not just a word anymore. It's like a key conversation. I don't like, it's like, what is your audience saying? And then put that on your website. So things like the ensuite and things like whether it's like a vibe or an experience or whatever it may be, like, put that on your website depending on what people are saying. And then, yeah, structure is what's going to matter. So make sure you have your heading tags in there. So I always like to think of it like a book report. So the title of your page, so every page, and I'm going to take one step back. Every page on your website has the potential to rank. So your homepage has the potential to rank. Then if you have multiple Airbnbs, multiple rentals, sorry, let's not classify them as Airbnbs, each one would have their own page on the website. So now each rental has the opportunity to rank on its own. And you could even, like, depending on how many you have, you could have categories for them or location pages for them. So it depends on how big your platform is, but those pages all have the potential to rank. So every page, think of it like you're writing a book report. The main headline is the title of the book. Then you have chapters. So what are those big chapters throughout that page? Those are going to be your heading 2s. Then if you have any subchapters or bullet points or things you want to summarize under those are going to be your heading 3s. Those are probably the most important. You can do more structure, like it goes all the way to heading 6, but the most important ones I would say is heading 1, 2, and 3. So just kind of structuring those like you would want to skim the content. People don't read every word. Like, I know we pour our hearts into writing copy sometimes, especially when we're creating our own website, right? And we sometimes just put too much pressure on, like, someone's going to read all of this and think I'm so clever. And it's like, probably not. They're probably going to skim and jump to that one section that they're really interested in, and then maybe they'll come back. People skim the content, and so do AI searchers. So they're going to skim that content and deliver people just the relevant information of what they need. So Structure is going to matter. And then I would say the other really important thing to do when you're optimizing your own website is your SEO title. So that is that blue clickable link that shows up on Google. That is a ranking factor. And that's where you can't put a whole conversation in there. So that's where keywords still matter. You still need to know, like, okay, what is this specific location? What is it that people are searching for specific to the rental? So I think a lot of times, like I know right now you're doing on your stories, you're talking about naming your house, which is awesome and like so fun. I've loved following along on that. Having a unique name for your space is great. That's what builds the brand recognition. But if no one knows you yet, your SEO title shouldn't be that name. It should be what people are actually searching for. And then when people start searching for the name of that place because it has enough brand recognition, then you can add that to the SEO title. So it's kind of like thinking that is one of the most important things that you're going to see only on a Google search page that you want to be optimized for clicks.
Creating a brand is important, but it's not necessarily important to put it into the SEO title.
Yes. Yep. So it is absolutely like once you click through. So, and we get this question all the time of like, what should come first, your brand or your SEO? And so there's not a right answer.
Oh, it's like a chicken or egg kind of question.
It is. It's like, it depends on the person. So I would say that if you if you land on your website and you still feel proud of like how it looks, people still understand the brand, there is brand recognition there. Like it's still the overall navigation and user experience still works, but maybe it's just not, it doesn't feel like quite you and you just want to make it better. Then yeah, let's do SEO. Because the goal of SEO is to drive traffic to your website. But if someone clicks on your website and then immediately exits because they don't have the experience they want, then that's SEO is not going to do you any good. So we need to make sure that you're delivering the experience that you want to be delivering on your website first. So if that experience isn't up to par, then it's probably brand. Like brand needs to come first so that, again, you are rememberable, recognizable, like you want people, word of mouth is a huge opportunity for rentals. And so making sure that people can actually communicate like, oh, I worked with this business or this brand. And that's actually brand authority is another SEO marker where people searching for branded terms related to who you are can help you rank higher because now that's showing Google and AI crawlers, these people, like they're in demand. People know them. People want to, they're referring them, they're talking about them. And because of that, we're going to showcase you. We have a little bit more trust in you to show you to the searcher.
Can you give me an example of what a brand marker would be?
Yeah, so that would be the name of your Airbnb. So like, or your rental. So it can be its own brand name. So like for example, if I was doing this for our own business, obviously our brand Duo Collective, right? And then we have a course called SEO on Tap. Both of those are branded content. So because we communicate that, people can likely search that, or the podcast Duo on Air, that can be branded content. So whatever you want to brand within your universe. So maybe your rentals each have their own brand name, or maybe your blog had like you have a really big blog and you create a lot of content that has its own name, or maybe you have a podcast or whatever it may be, but you have your own like hero brand, which is obviously really like the main brand of who you are. And then under that, you might have these sub brands. Some people don't have sub brands, like it can take time to build that sub brand situation. So if you just have one brand, that's okay. I don't want you sitting here thinking like, oh, I got to build all these brands. It's just that kind of organically happens over time. I think we just forget to actually talk about them. Like, I want people to know this sub brand. I want people to know the name of my podcast. I want people to know the name of the rental. That kind of stuff is still really important for SEO too.
Yeah, and to me, it all translates to being able to eventually charge a higher nightly rate because you are in demand with that brand recognition. It's not just having a direct booking site for the sake of having it. It's avoiding those fees. It is creating that demand outside of a platform that you don't own. I know like I came from the creative entrepreneur industry, and in that industry, people really hammer home the fact that you need to have an email list. That's like one of the main like marketing tactics or strategies in that industry. And they always say that because you don't own Instagram. Instagram Meta could shut down and you don't have access to your X amount of followers. Well, it's the same way, the same concept, with Airbnb being a platform. If you don't have access to Airbnb anymore and you want this to be a legitimate business, how are you going to do that? And I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, 2 days ago was the Amazon outage where like every tech stack that I owned felt like at least a part of it was down. And so it's like, no, this is a very real threat that you have to be prepared for. And it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah. And it's even just thinking about that like user journey too of like, okay, how are people starting their vacation planning? They might start on something like Pinterest. Like that's where they start ideating where they want to go, what they're going to do there, what neighborhood are they going to stay in. Pinterest actually, so when you have a Pinterest account and it links to a domain that you own, like a direct booking site versus an Airbnb, it's going to perform better. Your pin performs better when you own your own domain and your pins drive to your own domain. So there's just like so much power in being able to create this experience that you own. Like you own your website. You can now deliver a brand experience that you can like fully support and trust, and other people can trust in you, rather than relying on, again, like Airbnb could just decide to change the structure of their website, and like they could decide to do it poorly and it could deliver a horrible experience. And now that reflects on you versus it being Airbnb. So it's just like you just don't have control. And I don't want like the fear to be the reason why you do it, of like, oh no, I don't want to lose everything, so here's why I have to do it. Instead, think of it as like an additional opportunity. So if you like back to that stat, about 46% of people book on Airbnbs, you're missing 34% of people that hate Airbnb. So like, how can you capture both of them? And so it's not about choosing one or the other. I think Airbnb has an existing amount of people. Like you said, if you're going to book something, that's where you go. And I think with ChatGPT changing the game of how people search and how people book things, like I expect that number to go up so much more than down, because people just aren't happy with things like the fees and the non-transparencies and different things like that.
It actually, like I was trying to think about like my booking habits on Airbnb. It's usually when I'm like going to visit family that I just go straight to Airbnb. Like I know what I'm going to be doing when I'm there. I'm not like planning a whole trip and exploring a new area, but if that was the type of vacation that I was going on where I wanted a new experience, like you mentioned earlier, I would go to ChatGPT and be like, okay, I want the list of like top 10 coffee shops, and then I want to stay in this type of place with 3 bedrooms for my kids, and it needs to be kid friendly, and I have to have my dog with me, like whatever it might be. So you're exactly right. Like I was thinking maybe I was the exception to the rule, but I'm not. Like it just depends on what the purpose of the travel is behind how I book the property that I'll stay in.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also depends on your location of where you are, like how much information. Like, for example, if I'm going to New York, I have no idea what neighborhood I want to stay in. So I would probably spit into ChatGPT, here's who I am. I'm going to travel with 2 kids to New York. I want to be in a neighborhood I can walk to a coffee shop in. I want to have 2 bedrooms. I want to have, like, I'm going to detail all that out. So if you think about how you can now take that and put that on your website, you can even put a section on your website, like the headline is, this place is perfect for you if you are, and then literally spit out all the things of like, you're a parent, or you're like, and you can detail out all of it. It's kid friendly, like all of this. And now it makes it even easier for someone who's going to ChatGPT to tell them who they are and then where they should stay, to spit out you as a result.
Okay, I have one question that I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I'm going to shoot anyways. Okay, so I use a property management system, and that is basically helps me with like my operations and calendars, making sure nothing's like overlapping and stuff like that. But that platform, which is called Lodgify, has the option to build a direct booking site on their platform. How does that compare to like a Squarespace, what I would say is like a custom site, like pulling the widget from the Lodgify and dropping it into a custom Squarespace site versus building one on the Lodgify platform? How does that affect SEO?
Is your domain, what would your domain look like? Like your .com. would it look like?
It would have like brandonmarket.logify.com. So it would still have Logify in it, I believe.
Yeah. So you don't own that. Logify does. So it's technically, you probably have a little bit more control than Airbnb and VRBO because you can still customize and build your website. But in terms of the authority, you don't own that domain. So
So we still can't do the Google Analytics. We can't do the Google Search Console.
maybe you can.
Okay.
It kind of depends. You'd have to look at the platform to see if they allow you to add in like a
tag
GA tag.
yeah.
So you'd have to look at that. But when it comes down to like what you own, whatever it is, the domain.com is the own part of the domain. Anything before it, so like your brand dot, is considered a subdomain of that domain. So you don't actually own the domain, which is the authority part of it. So when it comes down to like how you're performing from an SEO perspective, I always look at your domain authority, and that is that marker of like how authoritative is your domain. How many keywords are you indexed for? So how many files do you have in that file cabinet? And then how many backlinks do you have? So links of your website being linked on other websites. If that's like a Pinterest pin, or if that's you were featured in an article, like a local article, and then they gave you a backlink, or a press feature, a local thing like that. And then also traffic. How much traffic does that domain get? Those are the most important things. When it comes to your SEO, this is how you monitor your growth. If you're growing your keywords, if you're growing your organic traffic, if your backlinks are growing, then your domain authority is growing. The higher your domain authority marker and number is, like the easier it's going to be for you to rank. Typically, higher authority means higher credibility and trust. So these tools are going to feature you because you have more of that trust and credibility. Since you don't own that domain, it's up to Logify to build that authority for you. So all the backlinks are going to be associated with them. So the benefit of it is they likely have a lot of backlinks, a lot of traffic already, a lot of content to index, but that's going to include everyone, not just you. So it's not going to be like super unique to you and your business. It's going to be like the entire Logify system, if that makes sense.
I know earlier you said we don't have to choose between just Airbnb or just a direct booking site. Would you recommend like adding the Logify site onto that? Like,
no, probably not.
So it should be Logify site or direct booking site. Choose one or the other.
I think so, because it's still going to be upfront work for you, right? So you still have to build the website on their system, or do they do it all for you?
No, you still have to build it on their system. I consider it a very uncustomizable template in quotation marks. It's very like you can choose between like 5 different templates, and you can somewhat change the copy, but like overall it looks like a template. Like yeah.
Which then, I mean, you might not even have the ability, like sometimes you can't change heading tags. They just are what they are in the back end. So like that structure then might also be limited because of the template that you're building. So I would say if you're going to build your own space, I'd rather you do it on your own domain. And then I'm assuming they still give you embed codes to add in your calendar link, right? Yeah. So then you can take those embed codes and put them on your own website. So you can still leverage the platform and the ease and the usability of the calendars and the booking and all of that while still growing your own authority under your own domain.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm in the process of doing for our own rentals and another client's rental as well. So I'm excited to see how that strategy proves or how it plays out. You know, the next kind of marker is being able to not only use those like organic online strategies of SEO, but also making sure that the guests that we are currently using or currently hosting also know about the site in case they do want to come back. And I think that's some low-hanging fruit that hosts can really capitalize on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's a local guy that owns, I'm trying to think now, because this is like a very good experience of like, I can't remember how I found him, but I did find him, and he has his own site with all of his own listings. I might have actually found him on Airbnb, but then actually connected with him off of Airbnb because I found his actual website. And now because of that, he emails me, and because he has my number, he texts me as well. But I would say it would be a whole lot easier if he just like did the mass emails. but he'll email out when availability during peak seasons opens to like all the people that previously booked. And so it's really nice because these places are massive. And so unless I can get all of my friends with all of their kids, like all of us to work at the exact same time, which never really happens, then it just doesn't typically work out. But when he has these times where it's like, hey, in 2 weeks, we are randomly open, I am cutting the price in half just because I want to book it right now. Even if half of my friends can come, we're going to go. And I'm not searching. I'm not actively searching for a vacation right now. And that's like the power of being able to talk to your own people is like people might not be actively searching to go someplace, but if it's local people, you can have a segment of local people on your own email platform. And then you can market to them when you have like just short-term openings and you can run offers and you can actually get things booked a little bit easier when you actually own that data.
Yeah, and that goes to show that he knows his customer pretty well too. That like, although it might not work out with a 3 month lead time, it could work out with a 3 week lead time. So making sure that you're tailoring.
Which is actually like, yeah, that's totally me and my friends is if it's going to work, it's going to be like next weekend. Let's do it. Like spontaneity.
Right, which is a little counterintuitive, but like if it works, it works. That's awesome. And it actually has me thinking when you said that you encountered him first on Airbnb and then found his website outside of Airbnb. We had mentioned perhaps if you had like a property name, if it doesn't have that brand recognition yet, maybe not putting it in the SEO title, but I do see where it could be helpful putting it in the Airbnb listing. On Airbnb, of course, you can't advertise your own direct booking site. That's a big no-no. They have little AI bots that scrub the messages if you send people a URL to something that's pushing them off of the Airbnb platform. But if you have that property name in there, then perhaps once you have that brand recognition, they could then find that property or that direct booking site off of the Airbnb platform without even having to be led there with a direct URL.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that is actually because he had other cabins available. Like the one that I wanted was booked and he had others. And Airbnb didn't deliver me the other ones. Like, yes, I know you can click on the host and then you can click on all of the other ones, but that's not as intuitive. I think sometimes like it's just you have to like
and it's
dig
not a
a
great
little
user
deeper.
experience.
Yeah, it's not. It's like I would love there to be okay, more like this from this host, like whatever, like that kind of like experience, which again, you are stuck to whatever Airbnb decides is right. And they don't care about you and pushing your rentals. They care about pushing any rentals. So they're going to show anyone, not just you, right? So that's where you can be like, if you have your brand name clearly on all of these different rentals, now you have the opportunity for people to be like, huh, I wonder what else they have. Maybe I'll just Google them or maybe I'll look them up in ChatGPT. And that can be like a great way on how they find your website. And the cool thing too is like, you don't know how people are finding your website until you get Google Analytics. So once you have Google Analytics, you can actually see backlinks of where people came from, meaning you can see how many people came to your website from ChatGPT, which is so cool to be able to say, whoa, this month, like 20 people found me on ChatGPT. That's awesome.
Yeah. Abby and Courtney have a really awesome newsletter. They did not pay me to do this plug, but their Tuesday tips and sips, as well as their Sunday SEO squeeze. Is that right?
Yep.
I read them every week. And a couple weeks ago, they had a way, like a Loom video that showed you exactly how to find that on your Google Analytics dashboard. So if you're not already on that email list, I will also link in the show notes how to sign up for that. But with that, I would love to end with the final question that I ask all of my guests. If you could give our listeners one piece of advice to become the best in their brand and their market, what would it be?
Man, just one? That's it? Oh man, I would say, I know we talked about a lot right now, and it can feel insanely overwhelming to hear everything and then be like, oh my gosh, there's so much I have to do. I would say the one thing that you can do is release the pressure of having to do it all right away. Like I would rather you give yourself a break and say, okay, I have a year. I have a year to build myself a direct booking site. I'm going to do it by the end of 2026. Like there's no rush. Like just take your time, do things right, and take the pressure off, because we all have enough to do. And if you're still like booked out, and if you're still, people are finding you on Airbnb, then it's working for now. Just build yourself a security policy for the future.
Love that so much. Thank you so much for your time, Abby. Can you make sure that everybody can find you offline if they want to connect with you after hearing this episode?
Yes, we are at duocollective.com. That is our little home on the internet. And then we also have a podcast called Duo on Air, where we talk all about branding, SEO, all the things. And we're active, most active, I would say, on Instagram. So at duo.collective. So if you want to send us a little voice message there, by all means. And I'll make sure you have the links. We have an archive for that SEO squeeze, so you can actually go and watch that video on our Substack archive.
So smart. And I'd highly recommend doing it. Once you have Google Analytics set up, it is like addicting.
It is. It is very addicting. The data is like what I think is just, you can just nerd out over it for sure.
Well, thank you for your time, Abby. It was great speaking with you today.
You just completed another episode of the Brand and Market Podcast. If you found this helpful, please rate, review, and subscribe to help others find this show and so that you never miss an episode. Don't forget to take a look at the show notes for all the resources mentioned today. See you next Wednesday, and as always, I'm here cheering you on as you build your dream brand and business.